As young children, we are told there are no monsters hiding in the dark, that nothing exists there that does not exist in the light. There's nothing to be afraid of, and the monsters don't exist. But the truth is that the world is full of monsters, and there are always reasons to be afraid of the dark. Like so many great love stories, it started when they were young. Allison was new in school, forced to move just before starting 3rd grade. Jesse, a natural leader, offered to show her the ropes that first day. He walked up, took her by the hand, and never let go. The innocence of children and the naivety of adults. It was love at first sight. As far as anyone was concerned, destiny had brought them together, and it would take a force stranger than nature to rip them apart. Theirs was a love for the ages, a fairy tale come true, true romance. Somehow, tragedy always finds a way. As they grew older, life tried to pull them apart. Jesse moved away to pursue a career that would feed his soul. Allison stayed behind to care for her ailing mother. Some nights she would pray for death, for her mother, or herself. One night, after a dose of heavy partying, Jesse did something unexpected. We are only human, after all. After his confession, Allison sank into a deep, hollow depression. She didn't know if she could shoulder the world's burdens that kept piling up. Between her mother dying and Jesse's infidelity, Allison had hit rock bottom. To look at her, you would almost say the light had drained from her eyes. Out of options, Allison went looking for trouble. That night, she learned a valuable lesson. If you go looking for trouble, even if you don't find it, it will always find you. Allison discovered the monsters she was warned about in fairy tales were nothing to fear. But that didn't mean there weren't things that go bump in the night. Sometimes, the monsters we should fear the most are the ones hidden in plain sight, in the darkness, and in the light. Nothing would keep them apart ever again. Jesse blamed himself. He decided he would never leave her again. He dropped out of school and moved back home. Within a year, they were married. Within 2, they had their first child. Just before their 5th anniversary, Jesse was made a partner. Everything was perfect. It was a picture-perfect life. Perfect. The next few years were about as good as anyone could imagine. They had made it through the darkness and found each other in the light. Perfect house, perfect job, perfect family. Every dream they ever had come true. They were still standing together. The problem with dreams, they can quickly become nightmares. Late one night, Allison heard Jesse stumble in, drunk, crashing and banging into walls and furniture. She couldn't believe he would do this to her, to them. They had made an agreement that neither one would ever drink again. He had broken that promise. Allison was ready to confront him. He had broken her trust. The room was pitch black, except for a faint outline of a silhouette standing in front of the living room window. Her fingers blindly searching for the light switch she had flipped 1,000 times. She found it and was about to strike the lights when suddenly she stopped. He had saved her from herself, given her everything she ever wanted. She would give him this one. That was the last night she saw Jesse alive. When the dust had settled and the reporters and onlookers had all disappeared, Allison was left alone. Only the ghosts in the big empty house to keep her company. That night, as she laid her head down trying to sleep, she reached out, touching the cold spot Jesse should have been. That's when she noticed something strange. A small note folded into a square. She pulled it out. She lit a candle and held it up to try to read it in the candle's dying light. As the scribbled words came into focus, they hit her like a train. Aren't you glad you didn't turn off the light?